this journey of meditation. So in the last 3 weeks, we covered one verse, Katham Jnanam Apnoti, how the knowledge of the reality is attained, Katham Muktir Bhavishyati, how the liberation or the freedom can be achieved, and how Vairagyam Chakatham, how dispassion can be attained. O my master, tell me. And the seeker is nothing but one of the great masters also, and he has done hundreds of practices for years together. He was a king in the eastern state of India long back, 3,000 years ago. And Janaka had done all the practices. He knows what the meditation, mindfulness, awakening, etc., etc. is. But he has one doubt. What is that doubt? There is a reference in our teaching that freedom is here and now. So how to achieve that freedom here and now? That was his doubt, because he has done years of the practices. So he wanted to know from this master. So we have covered the 3 questions in detail, and now he answers Muktimichhasi Chetat. So he picks up the second question, liberation, freedom. So he says, if you are my son, if you are seeking freedom, or you want to be into the state of mindfulness here and now, so he uses symbolically. He says, whatever the objects enters into the mind, treat it as a poison. We don't take a poison when we know it is a poison. That is the first line. And the second line, he says, Chaima Arjav Daya Tosham Satyam Piyush Vadbhas. So he uses two words, poison, nectar. So he says, nectar of forgiveness, simplicity, kindness, contentment, and the truth. In place of a poison, whatever the objects enters into the mind, we need to understand that clearly. How long it takes us to reach to ourselves? It takes some time to cover a distance. If I have to reach to your house, there is a distance and there is a time. I am here, you are there. Here and there in the mind comes from the idea that we are the body. See that? Where are you at my home? Where I am at my home. So when I say I am, the mind lives in ignorance because I say I am the body. Your body is there, mine is here. But if we are not the body, we are separate and different from the body, then what happens? How do we know this? By dropping the wrong notion in the mind and being aware of the self behind the mind, here and now. The moment the mind drops the wrong notion, it moves from waking to awakening state. The awakened state means the mind becomes aware of something beyond the body and the mind, leaving space and the time, and we live in a meditative state. I think I always love to speak of that story, the 10th man story. There were 10 students of a master who wanted to visit a village. The master said, oh, they should take care of everyone and keep counting so that no one is lost on the way. They crossed the river and started counting to confirm if all students are there. Now see that the master says, one student starts counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, there are only 9 students left out of the 10. Where is the 10th guy? What happens? What happens when the mind is obsessed with the world outside? We forget ourselves. Think of it. Just know. Each one counted 9 because they left themselves. It is difficult for the mind to move within. Because, why? Because it is very difficult, because it always wants to find himself in the world outside. How is that possible? That is the reason the master says, learn method. You should have a discipline. You should do the practice. And we have thousands of practices. Many people ask me which mantra is powerful. When we are weak, even powerful mantra leaves you weak. So this master says, monk was passing by, looking at the students, what they were doing. He approached them and said, he will find the 10th student. So he stood behind one student and asked him to count. When they counted up to 9, the master turned the finger to himself, to the student. Here is the 10th guy. How long it took to know myself? That is the journey of this teaching. We know 9, but we do not know the 10th one. What it means? We know too much in the world outside, from Earth to Moon to Mars, but do not know who we truly are. The master makes a serious note by indicating that we know too much in the world outside and we don't know our true nature. And what it takes to know? To know is to be aware, and to be aware is to experience. It is the awareness, knowledge, and experience. When they go together, you are aware here and now of your true nature. You don't need to do any practice. That is the teaching of this master. You see that? Take another example. The master says there are only 2 things in the world. One is matter, other is consciousness. Matter and its extension is the entire world. And the consciousness and its extension is my true nature. Liberation. So he picked up the question of liberation. Now pay attention and we will start the practice. Liberation is freedom from the mind, not freedom for the mind. I repeat it, I think, 100 of times. Now let's go a little deeper. Who created the bondage and limitation? It is the mind. How mind created the bondage? When the mind perceives the world outside, it likes and dislikes, then the mind starts thinking about that subject or object, and it creates a desire. And desire means seeking something other than me and projecting happiness there. But the happiness is not located outside. You see, I'm telling you a story. Pay attention. We have gone too far from ourselves by liking, thinking, seeking, projecting happiness. From what? From the instrument that is mind. Everything is happening in the mind. We need a method. And method will take time, which is called practice. including the meditation practice. So what is the catch here? What Astavakra says, and then we will go into the verse to understand. Astavakra says, why don't you become aware that freedom from the mind is the key? Why you start thinking there is attachment, there is a desire, then you start thinking, and then you have to control your desires, you have to get rid of the attachment, and then you will reach to the meditation. Why don't you drop the mind? Because everything is contained in the mind. Just see. It is very subtle. It is very subtle, because if we ask, drop the mind, okay, but the moment your mind asks how to drop the mind, you are still seeking a method. You don't want to awaken yourself here and now. The mind returns again. Okay, I agree with you. Freedom from the mind. But how to drop the mind, to have a freedom from the mind? You drive the car, you put the car in the garage, you come out and you're asking how to drop the car in the garage. You have already dropped it. You need not to ask a method. Are you getting it? That is the teaching of this master. Astavakra says, in the field of awareness, mind as an instrument is like a car. So when you are asking a method, it means there is a lack of awareness. When you are not asking a method, you simply drop the mind. You are already there. So why he picked up the second question instead of how the knowledge of the reality is attained? On Mondays and Thursdays, we understand 40 steps, a practice, a method, other tips. When we drop the mind, dispassion is natural state that reveals the knowledge of the reality. So the master is saying, Muktimicchasi chetat vishayan vishvat tyaja. Muktimicchasi? My son, you are seeking liberation, my son. So now he is symbolically expressing that you shun, reject, drop the objects of the senses like a poison. Where is poison? When you know it is a poison, do you touch it? I heard that nobody could find the taste of a potassium cyanide, because the moment you put it on the tongue, you are gone. And the potassium cyanide is a poison. So why he says it is a poison means that I should keep away my mind from the poison. I should keep away any object that enters into the mind, because the moment the object enters into the mind, the thinking starts, the liking or disliking, good or bad, profit or loss, and everything. Just leave every object. The moment the object comes, so he symbolically is saying, when you are doing meditation, I'm not saying when you are living a worldly life, then you will not be able to recognize even your honey at home, because you recognize by word, by thought. So what he's saying, you are ready for meditation, drop the objects in the world. Because without object, you cannot have a thought. And when there is no object, there is no thought. You enter into a meditative state. So what will happen? The mind says, I am the body. Poison. Keep it at a bay. I am the mind. I am the thought. And in that state, it is awareness of the reality. You leave the world outside, you enter into the state of mindfulness naturally. That is the way this journey of mindfulness. Think of it, freedom from the mind, freedom for the mind. So if there is a freedom for the mind, that is not liberation. That will create bondage. That will cause suffering. And the freedom from the mind. Freedom from the smartphone. So what you do, you keep at a distance. Leave this. So freedom from the mind means you become instantly aware. Whatever the mind is doing, let it do. There is an awareness that the mind is an instrument and I'm the master. You start living into that state of meditation and mindfulness. So what the master is saying, if we want freedom, muktim ichhasi, if I want liberation, so he picked up the second question, because in that liberation, both dispassion is there and also the knowledge of the reality is there. Chetat, my son, Vishayan, Vishwatyaj. So he is answering directly that here is the way to be into the state of meditation here and now. Here and now, not in the future. In future, we need to practice. So let us start our journey of mindfulness. Eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. First stage 1. Why I say stages? There are no stages in meditation, mindfulness, but still I explain it. To make your intellect clear, mind follows the stages with clear understanding. So the first stage, the step 1 is steadiness of the body. And you are seeing the steadiness of the body. Are you doing anything now? Eyes are closed gently, yes. Mind is aware of the heart within, yes. You are aware of the space within or emptiness within. Or you are looking at a point. You experience the calmness is there. Lack of awareness of that calmness, why it happens? Mind is seeking its own freedom. And when you are seeking freedom from the mind, then what? You maintain awareness of the calmness. How easy it is. Are you doing anything? No. So let us settle it little deeper. Being comfortable. Pay attention. I don't say become comfortable. At a very primary level, I talk about become comfortable. Being comfortable is a state. Remember. So being comfortable, looking at the neck joint, just casually. Looking is not doing anything. Being aware is not doing anything, my friend. So when you are looking at the neck joint, feel, you know it, presence is there, and you experience sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. The mind becomes aware of the shoulder joints, Lack of awareness brings the mind back with its ideas, with its thoughts, with its likes, with its dislikes, and desire and projection and conflict. What I'm saying, be aware of the shoulder joints. Be there, feel and experience sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. Mind goes to hip joint. Same thing. Being comfortable, sensation and awareness. The steadiness, you are aware of it. That is what it is. That is what it is. Continue. Continue. And moving the mind on the entire body, experience being comfortable. Experience being comfortable, sensation and steadiness. Let us settle a little deeper. Being carefree. Now see, being carefree is freedom from the mind. Whatever the thought enters into the mind, let them come, let them go, let them come, let them go. I have already explained to you the birds flying in the sky remains the same. So you go behind the mind. You step back. Why you step back? You are seeking freedom from the mind, not freedom for the mind. Freedom for the mind. Whatever the mind complains, blames, reacts, you follow it. The mind is seeking pleasure of all kinds in the world outside, and we forget. So we are more concerned about 9 students than the 10th one. And then being casual and natural. What does it mean by being natural and casual? You are as you are. Thoughts are there, thank you. No thought is there, thank you. Feeling the sensation in the body, it is okay. Stage 2. Today we will not do anything and see what happens. In the stage 2, we start the journey of Viveka. Maintain your awareness, self and the non-self, matter and the consciousness. So now look again, the head and the neck. In the stage 2, the first step. Just looking at the head and the neck. Can you move the mind on each cell of the skin of the head and the neck? You will experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. The mind goes to the right arm. Move the mind gently on the skin of the right arm, from the shoulder to the fingertips. Means you're dropping the lack of awareness. And you experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Mind goes to the left leg. Well, you don't follow the rules of the mind. Freedom from the mind. The left leg, each cell of the skin of the left leg. The mind moves slowly, becomes aware, feel the presence. You experience the deepening of the sensation, relaxation and stillness. Left arm, mind looking, aware of the left arm. Why it takes long time to succeed in the journey? Because we need a freedom from the mind, and that too by the mind itself. So left arm. The moment as if the conscious mind drops on the left arm. The experience deepens the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Looking at the rib cage all around. Looking, if I say you are dropping the mind on the skin of the rib cage and you feel the sensation. You feel the sensation, experience relaxation and stillness. The mind goes to the belly. Do you see that the mind is always in a hurry? It wants to know everything in a one go. It lacks awareness and it loses. That is what we are not doing as such. We are just moving the mind. We are just moving the mind on the belly, the skin. You feel the sensation. You experience relaxation and stillness. The mind goes to the right leg. Be there. Feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Beautiful. Everyone is doing so good. Just be there in that state. What we understood today, it is the freedom from the mind. The mind says, no, you are feeling numbness. You are seeking freedom from the mind. Numbness is a content in the mind. Sometimes you don't want to listen to the salesman who knocks at your door. No, thank you. You want that guy should be out. Freedom from the mind. The entire body from the top of the head to the toes. Moving the mind. From the top of the head to the toes. Experiencing sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Gently look at the breath going in and out. It is content of the mind. Content of the mind is like a poison. No, but we go it, we recognize it. The breath is going in and out. You are feeling the sensation of the breath. Make sure the mind does not take over you. How it takes over you, the mind starts changing the breath. Three-pointed awareness. Now discover where it is happening. It is happening in the space behind. You can be aware. So just be aware of 2 points. One is experiences happening in the mind. And awareness of the space behind. The movement of the breath in and out. Feeling the sensation of the breath and no change. I believe you understand. I seldom become aware of the space all around me in a room. I become more aware of the room. The articles, the items that are present. 2 things. One is constantly changing, breath is going in and out, feeling the sensation. And behind that, there is a space. Just be there. We keep the objects of the mind at the white poison. We don't lose awareness of the poison, and simultaneously we are aware of something behind that. Changing breath, change less space. You're not doing anything. Any step can take you to that state of mindfulness. So that is why I say practice. Otherwise, it is not a practice at all. Moving to the stage 3 now, we play with the mind, and at last we say goodbye to the mind. You live into that state of sensation, relaxation, and stillness. In that state, become aware of the room where you are meditating. With eyes remain closed, become aware of the items that are present there. We need an awareness to ask the mind to follow us. Otherwise, what happens? We follow the mind. You follow the mind. The mind seeks freedom for itself. Then you are in bondage. So when you are aware of the room, the articles, the items lying in the room, this is the world. And the world is perceived by the physical mind. The mind takes the form of the object it sees. We know it. Okay, let us slip little deeper. Look at the physical body, your own body, from the top to the toes. Experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. It is also the physical mind, but the mind has a wrong notion that the body is conscious, and that creates the wrong notion, I am the body. So body is not a poison. The wrong notion, I am the body, is a poison. This is what the master is asking. Why you are running after the poison? Let us go a little deeper. Deeper than the body is the breath. You are looking at the breath. Who is looking? The mind. So you see, this mind is a subtle mind. The way the mind looks at the breath is different from the mind looks at the body, is different from the mind looks at the world outside. So who is changing? The mind. I'm not changing. Mind gives me a different perspective. How come? Ignorance. What happens? Bondage. What bondage brings? Suffering. So we know the trick of this mind now. The mind is looking at the breath. Let us ask the mind, what is deeper than the breath? Deeper than the breath? Thoughts, feeling, sensation. It is the subtler mind. The subtler mind looks these experiences with identification. What is that identification? With attachment. Now we are looking at the thoughts, feelings, sensations are the contents of the mind, not me, different from me. When that subtler mind is with awareness, you discover all your experiences are different from. The mind says, how do you see that? See that. So why the mind says? Because it has yet to understand with the clarity what is wrong notion, what is right, who am I and who am I not. Okay, now go deeper than the thought, feeling, sensation, and experiences. It is the subtlest mind. Subtlest mind is empty mind. There is only an infinite space. There is nothingness. Why there is nothingness? It has already dropped all the poison. What it takes to be aware of that space behind everything, behind the mind? Nothing. Maintain that. Just live into that awareness. Subtlest mind has no object. The mind cannot find anything behind the thought, feeling, sensations, or I would say all the experiences. And you may have a mind will return with an experience of many thoughts, and because you are aware of the subtlest mind, no object is there. But just outside, you have many thoughts with many options which you don't choose at this moment. So, there is a choiceless awareness behind. Thoughts are there, experiences are there. Who creates all the bundle of these experiences that is happening in the mind? Choiceless awareness. We explore it with awareness. Look at the heart. Inside, it is the same objectless space. Become aware of a point in the space. Even the science says that very point is the space itself. Point in the space. In order to get rid of the ideas created by the mind seeking freedom for itself, we use the same device. So when you are aware of this point in the space inside the heart, casually drop Om Shanti, not as a practice. Then ask the mind, can you see little farther? Yes, I can see it. Am I aware? Yes. Let me drop Om Shanti. Second milestone. What is the second milestone? A point in the space. Let us move to the third one. What do you find? Third one, the space. Point in the space. Om Shanti. Fourth one, you have gone deeper. In that process, you will discover as if you have gone too far from the body. That is what is freedom from the attachment identification with the body. Just continue. Continue. Are you doing anything? You're just recognizing the milestones, because the mind only understands by dividing anything and everything, and then it knows. So we are dividing almost the space which is indivisible. So what is going to happen? The mind awakens to that reality. The time comes when the mind is lost. You are aware. Freedom for the mind. Now looking at the breath going in and out, feeling the sensation of the breath, no change, and just see that you are also aware of the space behind. Rather, the mind is lost into that space on the periphery, on the circumference. You are aware of the breath going in and out, feeling the sensation. Another way to understand what it means by breath awareness. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand. Take your time. You need not even to think, just awareness that yes, I'm not the body. It comes from within. You succeeded. The mind goes to the left arm, left hand. Take your own time. Lift your both the palms. Place it on your closed eyes. Open the eyes inside. Know your experiences and bring the hands down. We have two things to go, sharing your experiences and questions. Sorry. So, how are you, Samir?
Sir, today it was means there was no breathing exercise, but it was in, as if awareness was penetrating inside my body. Means that
Good.
awareness is gone inside my body. It is looking, it is penetrated the skin of my body, and it is going on the bones, and I don't know what was,
Yeah,
but it was totally stiff body and means
yeah,
it was a very good. Means it was
deep, very,
very very
very,
deep and peaceful experience.
very deep. How are you, Anne?
I feel very good, very quiet.
Ah, you're doing while
Oh,
sitting.
God. in me anymore. It was a very good experience. Yeah, it was.
Very good. So, how are
Exactly.
you, David and Jerry? How are you, David and Jerry?
Yeah, very good. It was a very different experience today. I really enjoyed it. It was challenging because of the background noise, and so that caused an opportunity to be detached from something that would normally have been very annoying. But it allowed me to go deeper, and actually my arms fell asleep. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
I don't know where the time went.
And the best part is that we did not do the breathing practice or humming.
Yeah, no, and I had no problem like getting into a deep state without it. So it was great. I
Yes,
enjoyed it.
yes. That is your awareness, and that definitely took you to the deeper state. I'll check the computer today. What is happening? How are you, Jerry?
I'm doing well, sir. I also the I was able to go inside with this constant kind of like a almost like a mild helicopter noise for me.
Oh,
But but I kind of felt like, well, I guess I'm supposed to be meditating in this place. Um, and the body was very, very, very heavy today, almost and listing. I felt that I was so heavy, and then I was heavy because I listed backwards all the way to my cabinet, and so without really being too aware of it. So that was an interesting experience.
that's really good. Deeper. One thing we see that we always like, the mind always likes to do something to achieve a meditative state. And today almost we did nothing.
Mm.
We just maintained our awareness at different points with the different things and objects and ultimately the objectless state. So that indicates that definitely you are going deeper. How are you, Stephen?
Very good. It was the background noise was fine for me because it's life,
I'm
and
sorry. I
I'm
don't
trying
know.
to that no, it's not a big deal, but it's just about the meditation because if you're going to be in meditation 24/7, then those are the things that happen. So I embrace it. My experience were exactly what Samid experienced and exactly what David experienced. So
Oh, beautiful.
yeah, so it was definitely, I felt every part. I was inside my body looking from behind. When we were on the right side of the body, I could see the energy moving to the right. And every time we were on the left side of the body, I could see the energy moving to the left. Um, it no colors or anything that I remember throughout it, and it was over before I knew it. So thank you.
Beautiful. That's a perfect. You all are now becoming a seeker. I think we will get rid of these active steps of breathing and humming in Saturday's meditation. And I will add a couple of more steps to help you guys to go deeper so that we understand that meditation or mindfulness is doing nothing, just an awareness. Not only awareness, no awareness of craving, no awareness of the self. That is where we, according to these teachings, we will follow the teachings, what Astavakra says. How are you, Terry?
I had a good experience. I uh, I noticed that when my mind goes inside, and it goes into the space and the darkness, it seems to continue to move all the time. it's moving through the body, it's moving through the space. And my body was doing distracting things. Like I have a itchy feeling in my whole body. I think it's a nerve pain thing. And I fell over to the right, but at the same time I was remaining in the space, even though that was very distracting. And I saw the square and the circle, and one time it was blue and the other time it was red.
Yeah, that's good. Let the time come. I'll use these triangle and these geometrical figures. That's a part of the tantra yoga, and we will see how it helps. One thing to be known, that all the experiences that is happening in the mind. Now, I don't need the mind. So sometimes you don't get even the outer noise noticed. The same outer noise pertains to the body. So when we have challenges in the body, the mind tends to identify deeply with reference to the body. That's why you went into the space, came back to the body. Went to the space, came back to the body. But it will happen. You're going deeper. How are you, Jonathan?
Very good. I too sort of, the noise was an interesting experience. It was actually quite nice because it was like a nice object to focus on, not focusing on, and
that is the way you should understand meditation.
Yeah, it was, and it sort of is a little bit similar to like it reminded me of sort of what I try to do when I'm not meditating, which is like it sort of represented all the thoughts and the things that you can get very lost in that kind of a distraction, and there's like a layer underneath it. So it was nice to like try to focus on getting to that layer because it's something that you can do not in meditation as well.
Beautiful, Jonathan. Beautiful explanation. Whatever is happening in the world, let it happen. I'm not the part of it. My master, I think, do you remember my master used to say, in Hindi it looks very good, and then I'll translate, Mast Ram Masti Mein, Aag Lage Basti Mein. So if I literally translate, it means let the entire world go to hell. I'm in peace. So whatever is happening in the world outside, let it happen. It looks very tough, but so why? The world is not me. Can I maintain that awareness? Finished. Beautiful. You made it. So, these revelations comes during the practice of meditation. And these revelations totally changes your mind. If you're doing it regular practice, the time comes, you reach to that state. How are you, Vaibhav?
So that's a really very nice experience. It was like a dark blue color, what I can see. And after some time, it's like I'm floating into this calmness.
Floating into that calmness. That's a pretty deeper experience. Good. Where is Ashok? How are you, Ashok? So you see that. Oh, Vivek. Yeah, one person is Vivek. How are you, Vivek?
Hi, good morning. Yes, it was very intense and very deep, and at the end, I felt the warmness at the end.
Yeah, that's good. Just see that. So to contemplate this, I'll be sending you two audio files. One I recorded in the digital recorder outside the computer, and the other from the computer. One is from the computer, another is from the digital, so that you can check which one is better. Any question? Remember, three questions are big questions. How the knowledge of the reality is attained, how dispassion is to be attained, and how liberation. So liberation is the end point. So the master says, Muktim chettat vishayan vishvatyaj. Just sleep with that idea, think with that idea, work with this idea, relationship with that idea, that mind should drop the poison. First, recognize it is what is the poison? Any object. As such, the moment the mind carries me away, either with a thought or with an object, I don't touch the poison. So when we don't touch it, we leave the mind as it is. That is one method of, one journey to the mindfulness. Other journey that we are doing on Mondays and Thursdays. Our mind has a desire, lot of thoughts. Let us purify the mind. Let us do this. Now I have a craving for this.